Hello, welcome to the Divine MF podcast. I'm Richard H. Klein.
And I'm Nancy Furman.
Hopefully it's not too loud and distracting today. We have a little bit of waterfall action and a little bit of wind. Probably a little bit of people walking by. But that's okay. We'll roll with it. And I'll do a little bit of noise reduction. So hopefully it won't be too bad.
Too intense.
Too intense. If it is, you probably won't hear this episode. But since we're here, I managed a little something.
Yeah.
All right. What are we talking about today?
Well, since we're in Puerto Rico, at an Ultimate Yin Resort.
It's called that, by the way. So Google the Ultimate Yin Resort Puerto Rico. That's where we are.
And so we got to discussing this little vacation retreat that we decided to take for my birthday.
Happy birthday, Nancy.
Well, thank you. I'm 29 again.
All right.
And I just wanted to really discuss with Richard and hopefully you guys, how do you pull yourself out of a yin?
Yes. Yeah. So this kind of, the idea for this episode came about with all of the relaxation and enjoyment, just so much, the pools and the hot tubs and the availability of a spa, the beach. Like this was, let me just put it this way. I did not do what I planned, which was to go to the gym every morning.
Right.
Before we did anything. I haven't been to the gym. I barely think I know where it is.
Yes.
And so that kind of started this whole discussion with, if you are in a place where there is so much yin, this is a yin place. It is a place to surrender. It is a place to retrieve.
Yes.
It is a place to be. Where is the yang in this?
Right.
Like, is it needed? And if so, how is it cultivated to bring balance?
Well, and I think that's the key term here is balance.
Right.
Because too much yin will get you nothing. I mean, truthfully, it's an never-ending nothingness.
Right.
It just continues to go on and on and on. And the point of a yang is to find a purpose and an end.
Right. Yeah. So too much yang is kind of a burnout.
Right.
And it's done. So
Right. So this is the balance. Is, a lot of people come to resorts like this in order to soften their yang. Like they have the most crazy lifestyles. They're working their asses off. They're working 60 hours a week. They have intense jobs. I mean, me as a physician, it was super intense. Anesthesiologists have the highest rate of intensity and stress levels in the medical field because of the sheer terror that can happen in an operating room.
Right.
So you're talking immense amounts of yang constantly, then people want to come to these resorts. So yes, it's the people that want to unwind, want to relax. But then you get here and you're like, there's two things I think happen.
Okay.
Number one, you're going, now what?
Yes.
Now what? It's really, sometimes you do have to kind of reset your brain to a yin mode. But also when you get into this now what, and you're drinking and you're relaxing by the pool and just floating around and enjoying the sun and the beach and all of that,
Right.
then how do you get the motivation to schedule an activity or to do self-care?
Right.
Because drinking 18 drinks in a 24-hour period is not self-care. Right. Sorry to say, guys.
I want to clarify before we go on briefly, is that when we're not saying that Puerto Rico, the whole island, is just yin fest. This
it is pretty laid back, but
I think there are a lot of other activities that we haven't tapped into, and some that we did start to tap into.
Yes.
We have the mountains, and we have a lot of other beach activities and fishing. So this is kind of specific to a resort, I'd say. So yeah, I don't think that the whole island is just sitting drinking and hanging out by the pool like we are. So yeah, so I just wanted to clarify that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
The other stuff is going on on the island, just for those who are like concerned. It's like, hey, Puerto Rico has all these sports and stuff. Yes, they do. We just didn't do any of them because we're resorting.
Yes, we're resorting.
So yeah, so after a couple of days of resorting, it is how to reignite a spark of yang energy.
Yeah.
Did we come up with anything?
Well, I think that number one, if you've had a routine before that's a self-care routine, I think that has to be, you have to have a conviction that is yang,
right,
to return to that. So self-care in that you exercise or you play golf or you're doing something in the outside world outside of the resort prior to the resort. I think activating that while you're in the resort is helpful, because what you're doing is you're activating an old neurologic pathway that knows this is okay, this is self-care, this is how we take care of ourselves.
Right. Okay, let's look at I'll use me as an example. So I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week consistently. Like that's just what I do. And believe it or not, and when we came here, that was my intention to kind of keep that every morning. Just start with the gym to kind of keep the momentum that I've already had walking in here. However, this is a place to relax and reprieve, and I didn't go to the gym the first morning, so I kind of broke the cycle and started eating. So what is the balance again, where you come to a place for some yin energy? You know, how like to, I guess, to kind of play with the dials at the beginning. You know, not to stay yanging the whole time and never relax.
Right.
But then also not to do kind of what I did, which is kind of turn the off switch.
Yeah, and say I'm done.
Yeah. So where's the balance there with the right amount of yang, kind of keeping that drive just going enough, that autopilot? What do you think?
Well, I think that also too, tapping into an uncharted territory would maybe be fun. So you could actually inject a new experience. So everybody likes to have fun. I have not seen a human being that doesn't like to have some fun. At least tap into that inner child on occasion.
Right.
If there's something that floats your boat that's you're in alignment with, then if you decide to maybe try a new event or new experience while you're on vacation, that's a nice way to yang and get motivated towards that. Have an intention. Okay, I'm going to learn blah, blah, blah. And a prime example was how you gave me for my birthday an astrophotography course.
Right.
So we, trekked out for about 6 hours in the middle of the night in the dark, trying to capture stars in Milky Way, which was something super fun. That was yang for me.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You're learning a new skill. Learning new equipment. Gaining the insight with how to find the shot, what resources you have available to assist with star navigation and location. Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of 2 ways already. So you activate just continue with an old pattern if it feels right, and if you have the intention of maintaining self-care or activating a new experience just for the fun of it.
Yes.
So those two are ways to activate some yang energy while you're yinning.
Okay. Yeah, this makes perfect sense. I'm getting to not just go straight to yin and just like, you're like, so for instance here, maybe it's don't go straight for the pool day one. Maybe it's, okay, do something like, let's go do the hike, but that's it today. Like not do everything in the island, but yeah, let's go on the hike up into the rainforest, and then the next day we'll do something that's a little less intense but still active. So then it's actually the last few days of your trip that are just by the pool. So rather than you starting by the pool, then it's like, oh, I'm good by the pool the whole time.
Nice.
For the whole time.
So you're saying timing.
Yes. So the day one might have been for me to go to the gym because we are going to go do something out. Some kind of exploration, something a little bit more active, something more yang. Maybe even two yang things the first day. The second day, one yang thing experience. And then maybe just a morning yang thing. And then the last couple of days, or that's when you do the massage and you do the sit by the pool.
Right.
So that it's the end of the trip where you just totally decompress and then return home.
Right. So yeah, actually that's beautiful because if you take the timing energy, so you're yanging, yang, vacation.
Right.
So you still are on a yang mode anyway.
Yes.
So that timing is perfect.
I think so. I mean, like with athletes, you do a cool down.
Yeah.
You know, even on the treadmill, like, you know, you're doing your workout and you hit the cool down. So you don't just turn it off.
Right.
You go down to like 3/4 for a little bit.
Yes.
And then half speed. And then you slowly get down to 0.
Right.
You don't just like stop the treadmill.
Right.
So maybe you don't just stop yanging. That might be a little intense on the body.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, I'm sure there's I don't know, can you talk about with health in the body and like retirement as an example, like the ultimate, and now I yin.
Oh yeah, wow, okay.
You know, and I'm thinking about
that's perfect.
like medical conditions that come up, like heart attacks, like 2 weeks after they retired,
yes,
kind of thing.
Yeah, your body is used to a yang mode, and people that do. So say, for instance, whether it's early retirement, say out of the military, which we've come across an individual here while in Puerto Rico that was in the military for 20 years. And he decided that I can't just not do nothing.
Right.
But he figured this out early on, which is huge, because he followed his desire to come back to Puerto Rico, which is where he was born. And even though he had been in, the United States,
all over. He's in the military, so you're stationed in multiple places throughout a career, certainly throughout a 20-year career.
Right.
And so, so upon retirement, he sort of found a passion and kind of incorporated travel with that new passion.
Right. So, and he was super clear. And so gaining some clarity around what happens when it's time to yin actually can help you set that intention of how the yang is going to look. You have to have yang with your balance yin. You have to. There's no human on earth that can just function in one way or the other without essentially depleting the body of its resources and then essentially dying.
Right.
So physically, your body will respond after retirement. Say, for instance, whether it's a 20-year career and you're retiring at 38, like this guy did, or if it's a 50-year career and you're retiring at 80 or at 70.
Sure.
And your body is going to expect some yang. Your nervous system expects it. Your tissues expect it. Your heart expects it. You have to have some. So when you lose that oomph, which is essentially adrenaline in the body, the entire body can collapse. And I've seen this in family members and in friends. We actually live in a 55 and older community, not because we're 55, but because we
Because we can.
We can. Yes, and it has to do with the age limit. And there's a percentage of people that can be in there that's in their 40s.
Right.
So that being said, we've seen it. We've seen retirees get really sick. And they get sick after they retire because they don't know what to do. And they have lack of clarity around, they've lost their drive, they've lost their intention, they've lost their will.
Right.
And, it's not, you even said this the other day. You was like, I can't do this resort for 2 weeks.
Right. No, I couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, you're a walking yang anyway.
Yeah, I can't sit still.
So, that being said, you have to find some purpose.
Yeah, and so back to the fundamentals. It is all about finding this balance, the yin yang balance, like the moments and the experiences of surrender, of reprieve, of being. And when are the moments of drive and purpose and will, desire, and activating that, and kind of that's the whole ball game. And so with something like coming to a resort where it's a big yin energy for a period of time, or something longer term like retirement, it is this kind of slowly dial down to kind of find a place of balance rather than just overshooting to the other side of the pendulum, too much yang, and then needing to like bring in the yang, and then too much yang needing to like swing the yang. That's just a very rough ride of imbalance. That'd be just rough on the person, rough on the body, rough on the spirit.
Right.
So to kind of ease back down, and then for the yens, if someone was born and raised in a resort, I don't know who that is, but to slowly dial up the yang.
Yes.
Just like little by little by little.
And pick pieces in your life to yang. I would say I started in a yin activity, but I had to yang it. Well, same with the astrophotography. I had to yang in order to get started in it. So like I had to have an intention set.
Right.
Like when I started to paint, same thing. Even though those are yin activities, photography, any type of creative, artistic endeavor, activity, leisure activity, or even professional activity, requires some yanging in order to inject in the beginning, because you're learning new activities. You have to kick in the brain power and have an intention of, I'm going to learn how to do this. It's a conviction.
Right. Yeah, a desire first for the experience. You have a will to learn, or to paint, or to acquire the technique.
Yes.
Or to have the fun.
Right.
There's a desire there too.
Right.
This is giving me an idea about, when we were talking about a full-on yang, someone born in a resort, to slowly yang. I think that applies for returning from a vacation like a resort.
Oh, yeah.
So to slowly dial in the yangness back into your daily life, and maybe even just drop a few things that you realize you don't need in your life if you're overdoing it. So that would be, one trick that I like to do is I love telling people that I'll be home from a vacation like a few days after I really will be home. So to kind of get back home, have, I guess, a little staycation.
Yes.
Just kind of straighten up the house, get back into my flow. And so you can kind of graduate that. Like, okay, so maybe my work, I'll tell them I'm like a day or two after, or I'll come home on the weekend, so I have the weekend before work. Okay. Yes. And then maybe I'll tell my athletic club, my team, whatever, I'll be back that next Thursday. Right. So now I have a few days of being back at work, and that's all I have to do. I don't have to go to the workout or all of these other engagements. So you just slowly tell people when you'll be back based on the level of importance, what things are like work things and what things are just extracurricular.
You just tweaked a little interest in me. actually, I think this is a good opportunity when you get back from a yin vacation, relaxation type of activity.
Mm-hmm.
It pick one thing to clean up.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Pick one thing to clean up and find an alignment. So, say for instance, do Honor Rock's recommendation of the categories of life that you want to clean up.
Mm-hmm.
So because it's a perfect opportunity, you're more balanced than you have been
Right.
in the last few weeks. You've actually gained some balance from all the yanging.
Right.
And then choose one thing to clean up. So whether or not it's your space, your finances, your house budget,
your inner life,
your inner
being.
talking. Am I telling myself I'm not worthy?
Right. Your
Stop
relationships.
Yes. Or can I be more loving in a relationship? Clean up one section of life.
Yeah.
And be committed to it. That is actually a nice way to yang in a very nice self-care way.
Nice. So if I were to clean up an aspect of my life after this vacation, I think what I will do is I'll start by thinking, okay, what do I really not want to get back to? And then look into why. Oh, why am I not excited to get back into this? Like, what am I not excited about going back to work for? Why is that?
Yes.
What needs to be cleaned up around me and work?
Okay.
Do I need to kind of change the way I approach my job? Do I need to change my job? Do I need to change? Yeah, what needs an adjustment so that I'll feel good about going back there?
Right.
Or if there's, a person in my life back at home who it's like, oh, I really don't even want to talk to. Like,
yeah, why am I talking to these people? This person.
Yes. Yeah. What needs to be adjusted in the relationship that I will feel better about continuing with it. Or maybe it's somebody that, you know what, it's time to just kind of part ways. I'm going to be focusing in other areas for now.
Right.
So what is it, like whether it's a person or an activity or a thing or a place about your home life, your daily routine that you don't want to get back to? And that's the place to clean up.
Right.
So I think that's what I'll do for this week.
Yes.
When we get back.
Do you have an idea of what that is?
No.
Not yet?
I'm yinning too hard.
Yinning too hard.
Well, let me think for a sec. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I do know that I'm gonna have to find a new gym pretty soon when we get back, because the one I'm a member of is closing.
Yes.
So that's, I guess, a cleanup. But that's something. What do I not want to do? That's something I do want to do. Is find a gym.
Something I don't want to do is eat. I think we've been eating out a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
Are you on board with that?
Cooking at home more. Yes. Yeah.
And eating cleaner.
Yes.
Especially after
being here.
Eating fried stuff constantly here.
I've been eating all fried stuff.
A decent amount of fried stuff. Steaks.
We didn't have fried steak.
Well, I felt like
deep fried steak.
I've been eating an awful lot of plantains.
Which we highly recommend. I do, by the way.
Yes, they're wonderful.
The plantain game is epic. Here.
Yes.
So yeah, eating cleaner. That's something I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, less eating out.
Yes.
In fact, I don't think I need to eat out for a good month.
Okay.
Let's see how long we can last.
Yeah, that's
maybe we'll do
fun.
that on Instagram. Just do the how many days.
I have to delete DoorDash and everything too.
Okay.
Let me do that. I'll clean that off.
Okay.
Clean that up.
All right, that'll be our fun little game. So that's all, we'll do that on our Instagram. So you can follow us at Shared Heart Journeys on Instagram or on Facebook. We kind of post to both, which is the sponsor of this wonderful Puerto Rico set
Yes.
and podcast, Shared Heart Journeys, sharedheartjourneys.world.
Yep.
Tools for the awakening life, finding your yin-yang balance, even if you're in a beautiful yin place like this. Go ahead and log on to sharedheartjourneys.world, and you can book a free half-hour consultation with Nancy or myself, or look at some of our group programs, a couple of which are on the very near horizon. So come back and check those out. Well, I'm sure we'll announce that on this podcast too when it's time.
Yes.
Sharedheartjourneys.world at Shared Heart Journeys, where now you can see how well we do with eating clean and eating in.
Yes. We're going to yang this.
We're going to yang this. Cool.
I love it.
Yes. Yeah. All right, what else?
Well, it's really interesting. I think this morning was nice because we actually decided to inject a little yang when we neither one of us wanted to go to the gym necessarily, but we also didn't want to just come straight to the pool, so we kind of compromised and did a yin yang balancing activity, which was yoga.
Yes. Yeah, it was very nice, and I definitely didn't want to do it at first.
Yes.
Like I did, like I know that I did, and I know my body needed it.
Yes.
But it is that that day one, like back to the workout routine.
Yes.
And the thing about day one for me is really it's the second day that's the worst. So to those of you, if you ever whenever it's time to start the new workout regimen, you know, it's getting up to do the yoga, but really it's the second day, because that's the day you're sore, and that's the day it's like, and then the third day and on, that's when it kind of gets started. You know that I've always wanted to quit a job. Every time I've had a job, I wanted to quit the second day of the job. Every single job I've ever had.
It's growing pains.
Yeah, it's just like
So humans try to avoid discomfort. That's what we do.
Right.
That's usually our driver, and that's something that can be cleaned up. If you're avoiding something out of discomfort, then maybe that needs to be cleaned up.
Nice. So I kind of want to talk about yang in a yin resort like this. This is actually possible because of yang energy. So right now I'm thinking about all of the staff and management that make this place possible. That keep these towels fresh, that have the food available, that deliver the beverages to be made, like the shipping, the housekeeping, the concierge, the bartenders, the people that clean the pool, so this pool is not disgusting to be in. It's quite beautiful to be in, the groundskeepers. So there actually is a lot of unseen yang that makes this possible.
Right.
Because without that, it would just be this big, sloppy, dirty, we'd be sitting on like years worth of mojito mint leaves, just composting.
Yes. They're always picking up trash and
So this is of course an appreciation for all of those that make this possible, but that is the yang energy. So let's talk about it.
So the yang is necessary for the yin to happen. Yes.
Yes. Yes, there needs to be this drive and will and desire, so to support the supporting.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Because so in this situation, the yang is actually providing, and we've talked about this, how yin can look like yang and yang can look like yin.
Yes.
Because it is a support. The supporting staff, all of this, all of the background life is actually yanging.
Right.
It's a very active yin, actually, is what it is.
Yeah. Yes.
Because yin is a support.
Right. Right. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Very nice. And it's okay if they're and the yang is learning also. So, for example, there can be one of the breakfast cooks doesn't quite nail the way that you have your eggs done,
Mm-hmm.
or they kind of mess up your order completely,
Mm-hmm.
that's still okay. They're still working at it, and you still are being nourished.
Right.
My breakfast was fine, by the way. But I guess I'm just kind of qualifying that with that it's okay if it's not perfectly executed every single time. It's still, we're all here doing our best, and we're all learning, and we do have different capacities.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's teach, learn, learn, teach.
Yes.
That's what growth is.
Yes. So in the spirit of the unseen yang energy, or the unnoticed yang energy, not that it's not all unnoticed, there's plenty of yang energy that is noticed,
Mm-hmm.
of course,
Mm-hmm.
but in the spirit of those unseen moments of yang that allow for the support of our lives, I'd like to say a happy early Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And
Nice.
you all still have a couple of weeks to do Dad right.
Yes.
Dad did the best he could.
Yes, he did. Yep. Yep.
So cool. Anyway, I don't know why I wanted to do a Father's Day plug.
You're feeling fatherly today, eh?
I guess. I don't really like any of those holidays.
I know.
The like buy stuff for somebody holidays.
I know.
But anyway.
Except for birthdays.
Except for birthdays.
He did wonderful.
That's not I mean, like the ones, like I'm talking about Father's Day is included, and Mother's Day, Valentine's Day.
Yes.
What are the other ones where you're supposed to buy stuff?
Christmas.
Yeah, Christmas.
Hanukkah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But Christmas and Hanukkah, I get it. That kind of has some deeper roots.
Easter for
No.
kids.
Well, okay, so every holiday has become like you got to buy some kind of something. But I mean the like made up holidays.
Yeah. Yeah, the made up holiday.
I guess they're all made up, but like
Well, everything's made up, really.
okay, I don't know. I'm just stumbling on my argument here. This holds no ground.
I love it. It's okay. We can ramble sometimes.
I can cut this out.
Yeah.
Nope, I'm too embarrassing. Cut that. That's why this episode's so short.
Yes.
No.
It's okay.
All right, what else though?
Well,
So it takes yang for this place to be possible.
yes.
So
Well,
that's the opposite too. It takes yin for the yang place to be possible, for the crazy work environment,
right.
for the
Well, and obviously there is a societal need for yin places. It's still something that helps nourish us, regardless
yes,
of what it looks like, even if it's expensive or if it seems like it's over the top or excessive or whatever. If it's a nourishing event or a nourishing place, then it does have a yin supporting character. It's supporting us.
Yes.
But you still have to have a little bit of the yang in there.
Yes. So I kind of just thought of this. I mean, in the spirit of balance, it is, because I was thinking we do live in a very yang dominant society. We do yang. Yang is all of the
Yang dominant society. Is that what you said?
Yes. Yes. Even, I think I've said this before, but even feminism as it's expressed now, to me, is very yang.
It is yin.
It is not, to me, a celebration of yin energy at all.
Yes.
But that's neither here nor there. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's not yin.
Mm-hmm.
It's yang. So,
Yes.
so we are in this yang-dominated society. So there's this need for the ultimate yin places like this, and the ultimate beach vacation, and like da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
If we, as a society, starting as the individual, because that's what we can control is our own lives, and we can direct our own lives,
Mm-hmm.
even in little ways. If it feels like we can't, you can always start to direct,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll find that you'll have more and more space for direction. If we could, in a yang dominant society or in a yang place, yin more,
Mm-hmm.
embrace our yin energy, and this is for the men too, for the yangs, to cultivate your yin energy.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have this big contrast between work, and then spa resort.
Mm-hmm.
That's this pendulum swing.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like, work, and now I need to, now just do nothing. If we could yin and cultivate ourselves well throughout the year, we will find probably quite naturally that when we come to resorts like this, there will be many more activities that are yang activities.
Right. So actually, when you just said many times throughout the year, why not at least once a day pick a yin activity?
Yeah, exactly.
Like whether or not it's yoga or meditation, or you're getting a massage once a week,
Right.
or you're stepping out and walking on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you live and you're lucky enough to live near a body of water, you go out to the body of water.
Right.
You either get in the water, or you sit by the water, or you walk next to the water.
Mm-hmm.
You're in nature. Choosing a yin activity just for 30 minutes, an hour a day,
Mm-hmm.
to balance that yang that you've been yanging so hard.
Right.
That was huge for me, because it wasn't until I started hiking when I was living in Colorado that I started softening all the yang. And it took me a long time to realize I lived in Colorado. Of all places, this is yin surrounding me. And I totally was like, I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I just need to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So to create that, and then what I think is, again, quite naturally, we will see more yang expressions in a resort.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well,
Such as
like the jet skis out there.
Yeah, like the jet skis.
Yeah, or volleyball. There's a volleyball net, and we saw a big group of. It was probably 12 people on each side playing water volleyball.
Right. Yeah.
That's a yang activity.
Mm-hmm.
With a tiny bit of yin in it, because you're in the water, right?
Right.
But everybody's like, wow, slamming the volleyball down.
Yes. So.
Yeah, you're right. Absolutely.
But what I mean is even more. I think that structurally, the idea that we all have of going to the beach resort vacation or going to the island will shift.
Mm-hmm.
It will evolve as our workplace, as we can evolve the workplace to be not so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's like, rather than having a society where there's places for yang work, or what, like the workplace or school or whatever, and then there's a place for yin, you will be able to find them both everywhere, and so kind of everything will feel quite balanced.
Right.
So nothing will feel like, we won't have an imbalance.
Right. Well,
it'll be easier to stay balanced.
Right. And that's a fulfilled life is truthfully a balanced life.
Mm-hmm.
It's really hard to feel aligned and fulfilled if you're not balanced, or at least close to being balanced.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen too many happy yangers and too many happy yinners, like solid yin. Like, they're usually depressed and just no motivation, and they're numb.
Right.
Or yangs that are so driven.
They're like hard shell.
Yes, and very protected.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you softening both of those stances,
mm-hmm.
You're going to have a lot happier life.
Sure.
I can definitely attest to that. Adding a little bit of, actually a lot of yin in my life helped. Yes. But balance is the game. And when you're at a yin resort, if you can find a little yang, whether or not it's, sticking to a routine that was your yang self-care routine, or you're trying a new thing,
mm-hmm.
And just out of sheer fun, you're trying a new thing, that's a yang activity, or just appreciating the yang that's going on around you.
Right.
That all of these hard workers that are cleaning up, while you leave a cup or a
pick up your own cup, bro.
Yeah, exactly. Or you appreciate those that are doing it.
Yes, of course.
The point is, noticing that there's some yang that you can do, and timing wise, like you said, you do a little yang at the beginning, and get those yangs on, because you're still on the yang train.
Yeah, coast your way down.
And
yeah.
coast your way down into the relaxation near the end.
And then coast your way back up
when you get home. Yes, perfect.
Nice.
So yeah, that's kind of what I would say the summary is around this little talk.
Yeah, balance.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Always find a balance, even if you're yinning and enjoying the shit out of it.
Yeah. Well, I think that's enough yinging for one day.
Yeah.
I'm ready to have a snow cone.
I think so too. I think so too.
Is there anything else today? Or is it complete?
I think I'm feeling pretty complete.
Okay.
This has been fun.
This has been. Yeah, so we'll post some Puerto Rico pictures if you're interested. Those of you that are, you can check out our Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm too yinning right now. I don't want to go around filming everything today. Maybe tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. This has been an episode of the Divine and That podcast. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.